totally pro-ranch, but I've seen it before and I see it now, and we're in trouble if we don't tell these people to pack up their stuff and go home. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Levi Tyler. Most of you know me. I'm a local here. My family's born, raised here, homesteaded here. Been through this whole thing. Now, I ask you, Sheriff, to please hit the pause button so the community can understand everything that is going on in our community. Not everybody here understands all the laws and legalities of this. So I am just asking for you to please just hit a pause button. They're not threatening us. I personally went down there and talked to them. I have cows right next to them. So I have to address this.
Yeah, I appreciate your stance on that. I'm not in charge of the investigation down at the refuge. I'm asking that they go home now so that this ends peacefully.
They don't want to see anybody get hurt either.
And I don't want to see them get hurt.
That's why I'm asking
There's
you.
people down there that I do respect. I agree with a good portion of what they have to say. It's about the other 10% that I don't agree with. And that's the way that this broke off. I think that our community's in a good spot to tackle these issues that we all face. I think that in lack of information, people start to seek it out on their own. And where do they go? Social media, internet. I think that our government could do a little better job communicating with the people and listening to the people. And I think they're listening right now. They're listening to your hearts right now. And they're right. I think these folks probably did spark something that they can't look away from. And so we've got a good platform to work on, working through our issues in Harney County, our relationships in Harney County, and getting back to normal, or better than normal.
First of all, I'm so nervous. But the first comment that we have is that there are a lot of locals out there all the time, 24 hours a day. There are local people out there. So if something does happen, I hope as a community we can at least stand to protect them. Second, we do have a couple of questions. Sorry. My name is Vanessa Leatherstein. I've lived in the county for 21 years, and my family's had ranches here for 3 generations.
My name's Lindsay Tyler, and I was born and raised here, and my husband is Levi.
Our first question is, why haven't you guys gone out to talk to them?
I'm not in charge of that investigation out there.
I don't mean it as the investigation. I mean, why haven't you, as our county sheriff, talked to them so you can know personally where they're at? Not through media.
Some of these gentlemen I've spoken with collectively for probably more than 8 hours over the last several months. They have a stance that they've taken, and I've taken a stance that I've maintained throughout this. And what happened last Saturday is unfortunate. There's some folks in this room that worked very hard to put together a peaceful rally. I saw a lot of people turn out to support the Hammonds. Regardless of which side of the fence you're on, when that many people get together and work together in a positive way, it made a statement. But that positive statement was undermined by the selfish actions of a few. There's a gentleman in this room right now that I respect, and we're on 2 totally different sides of the line. And he worked hard to get people to come here and do things right. And unfortunately, his efforts got dashed in the process. But the communities can come together. The citizens of this country can come together and speak out. And I think that's one of the messages these folks want to get across, that if people speak out, they will be heard if they speak out in unison. And I'm saying speak out appropriately, We can't have armed rebellion. We can't have something that ends in bloodshed. You know, maybe elsewhere in big government, we might have faceless entities. But here, working in government agencies and that, regardless of how we feel about overreach at any level, why stop with federal? Regardless of how we feel about overreach at any level, those aren't faceless entities. Those are our neighbors, our friends, our relatives. Every single person that works for one of these government agencies within our community has a spouse that lives and works in this community. They have children that live in this community and go to school with our children. We can work this out. And the bureaucratic red tape and the overreach and everything else is concerning us. And if you think I don't have frustrations, you should be a fly on the wall in my office sometimes when I'm having a Tourette's outburst. We have to work together through the appropriate channels to take our country back. By appropriate channels, I don't mean seizing buildings, standoffs, threats of violence from either side. Not from the government, not from the people. We got to work through this thing. We have to work through all these issues through the appropriate channels. And if we start today and we put up a united front and we peacefully attack these issues, they're listening. I guarantee you they're listening. They're watching right now to see what we're going to do. And our community can move forward and set an example for other communities on how to handle things and how to work through these issues before they get out of hand. Nobody's been hurt yet. Some buildings have been seized. Are buildings worth killing someone over? I say no.
No.
Good.
Actually, can I say one more thing?
Please.
I also want to say there was a group of 30 to 40 of us that went out today to see for ourselves what's going on, because we don't have a lot of info. And we wanted to see what exactly was happening out there. I have videotape of most of it. Just my battery died, so I didn't get all of it. It is probably the cleanest I've actually ever seen the refuge, so you don't have to worry about having to clean up after them after they leave. Just throwing that out there. And please remember there are local people there too.
Local or not, we don't want anybody hurt.
Exactly, that's my point.
Good point.
Sheriff Dave, I'm John Lamborn, local attorney in town. I've been practicing here since 1995.
Why do I always get nervous when I see you?
Exactly right. A couple of things that I want to sort of make sure that everybody is aware of. I sometimes am concerned when I see people possibly questioning your patriotism in this circumstance. Sheriff Dave, you're a veteran, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Tell a little bit about what your service was. What'd you do?
Right? I joined the United States Army straight out of high school when I was 18. I've done a total of about 8 years active. I retired out of the reserves 2 years ago with 21 years of combined service between active guard and reserves. I served in Somalia back in '93. Y'all seen Black Hawk Down? That wasn't me. So, I served in Afghanistan in 2008, 2009. I love my country.
Attaboy.
I love my community.
Attaboy. You swore an oath to defend the Constitution, right?
I did, sir.
You did. You don't get to pick and choose, though, do you?
I don't get to pick and choose which laws I uphold in my job, no, sir.
There you go. I've seen a lot of comment out there that would seem to indicate that people think that the sheriff gets to usurp or pick and choose what fights he's going to get into as it relates to constitutional issues. You don't have that discretion, do you?
That's not the way I understand it, sir.
Okay, all right. So when people ask, you know, to have the sheriff set up some sort of a safe haven for the Hammonds, did you have the authority to do that?
No, I didn't. I think that would have created a lot more problems for the Hammonds than what they were already up against.
Okay, all right. A couple of topics that I want to make sure get heard. Number one, I think everybody understands that the Hammonds were in front of Judge Michael Hogan, a senior federal judge for the District of Oregon, when they first went to trial in this case. And Judge Hogan heard the facts. Judge Hogan respected the will of the jury that heard the case. And Judge Hogan decided that, based on what he heard, that the federal mandatory minimum sentence, that the law seemed at that point to cause him to have to apply, he felt that shocked his conscience. And so, did Michael Hogan sentence the Hammonds to that 5-year mandatory minimum? He did not. Mandatory minimums are a bad thing. Mandatory minimums I'm a criminal defense lawyer, okay? I don't practice in the federal law. I'm licensed to practice in the federal court. I practice primarily in state court. In Oregon, we have Measure 11. How many of you have heard of Measure 11? Raise your hand. Okay? Measure 11 is sometimes used as a stick against my clients. Okay? Maybe they did bad things. Maybe they didn't do such bad things. But isn't that for a judge to decide? Right? Okay? So I think that there is a movement afoot, and our congressman was on the floor of the Congress, I think it was last night, decrying mandatory minimums, and I support that effort. The other thing, thank you. You don't come into Harney County, which is supposedly, and is, a very friendly place. You don't come into Harney County and threaten people at the point of a gun. This would be a vastly different discussion if those folks down there weren't threatening force. Am I right? I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in well-regulated militias. I believe in the Second Amendment, but I believe in the First Amendment as well, and I don't think that the Second Amendment trumps the First Amendment. And I think that's what we're seeing right here. So thank you. I appreciate your patriotism. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Merlin Roop, and I've been here for 70 years. And I'll make this real short. Dwight Hammond. I'll make this real short. My name is Merlin Roop, and I've been here for 70 years. And Dwight Hammond and Steve Hammond are the nicest people that ever walked the foot of this earth. I've branded calves with them. They've hauled my cattle. They'd do anything for me in a drop of a hat. And they got a rotten deal. And these people down here at the refuge, I just came from there, and I talked to them, and they ain't hurting a damn thing down there. They brought us all together. They're waking people up. So I think they're going to work this out. They're just making a statement for us to wake us up. And I appreciate all the help that everybody will give Hammonds, because they got the rottenest deal that there ever was. So that's about all I got to say, and I'm going home. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Gary Hannaford. I think some of you know me. I've been in Harnett County a long time.